And with that, what approach are you taking?
This is definitely a deception.
To any of those grifter specialties? Heist, swindle, or heist, swindle, and the one that always eludes me.
Swindle and fraud.
Fraud, that's it.
I can't think of what each one of them is off the top of my head.
So fraud is using something counterfeit. Swindle is giving some either selling is essentially selling something that's getting somebody to give you their money and then double crossing. While obviously a heist is much more of a kind of theft.
This I feel like would be more of a swindle. Looking at everybody else to see if they agree.
Great stuff. And what loads are you taking, Nathan?
I'm going in heavy. However, my heavy isn't necessarily the same. It's not like I have weapons, etc. on me. It's
you
more...
still,
yeah.
But you still look, yeah.
It looks like I'm prepared to do some work.
Yeah. Omen. Normal for Omen and for Lottie.
Appears as menacing as I can.
So heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, question 1. Is this plan overly bold or daring?
I mean, we are going up, but it's just 2 members of the Crows. Because we're not entirely sure if they're even doing this as part of their Crow business. This could be a personal racket they're running for all we know. So, no, I don't think this... No.
Okay. Does this plan exploit a vulnerability or hit your target where they're weakest?
I mean, how many people are going to have the academic knowledge of Cornelius and the medical knowledge of Nathan? So in other words, we're going to be spewing a lot of hot air that they're not going to know anything about.
Okay. Can any of your friends or allies provide assistance?
Outside of giving me blood, no, Jewel here is not of any use.
Omen?
I could ask my friend to give me some extra information on medicine, but I already have a medic. Oh.
And Lottie?
Nah.
Are there any other factors that you would like to consider?
No, I can't think of any.
No.
Are you guys?
Which with their higher tier and equipment does put them at a slight advantage. So it's only the 1. Fingers crossed. Everything crossed. 5. Okay. So a risky position. Where would you like to engage them as well?
House call, everybody? House call seem good? We got 2 affirmations there.
Oh, okay.
Making a house call on these 2 individuals.
That involves going to the crow's nest.
Yeah.
As you make your way into central Duskvol, where the old watchtower has been repurposed by the crows, a large white sheet hangs from one of the upper levels with a crow motif rather crudely painted into it. which catches in the slight rainy wind, billowing a little bit, and two supposed sentinels on the door who sit on the steps playing cards. Also looking up to the upper levels, you can see at least another one on the balcony who looks, from what you can tell, the posture, like kind of elbows resting on the side, resting his hands on his fists, looks to be incredibly bored.
As we kind of walk up, I am going to kind of lean over to Omen and make some idle chat right beforehand. So, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be forward, but you are aware you have a attachment of sorts. And he kind of nods in the general direction of where, well, he probably can't see it. Omen would probably be able to see his lovely ghost friend.
The wording you use goes straight over this guy's head. Just stares
no,
at you.
I'm talking directly to Omen.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, chatting before starting the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Yeah. Even in the while it's around, the temperature has definitely gone down by a few degrees. And just occasionally you find yourself, the hairs of the back of your neck are standing on end, and you're occasionally something sort of feels like it's a cold shiver is running down your spine.
Within a tune of 2. While I may not be able to see it, I'm definitely aware of it.
Oh, well, I think everyone's aware of it. It's when it's around. It's.
Have I been able to force or ask or force whatever a name out of this thing of this ghost? With even heads or head? Remember?
I'm going to say that would take a roll.
In a tune?
Yeah, probably has a flashback as well. So cost you 1 stress.
Then I need my stress. So I'll just then we'll mimic myself. Yes, he's been following his wonderful, terrifying, annoying parents.
As you get closer to the crow's nest, those 2 on the steps, they stand up. The first one stands up, takes a step forward, looking towards you. The other one takes a moment to look at his hand, where the card's been put down on the steps at that moment, and then follows.
Good evening, gentlemen.
They both stony silence, but they're looking at particularly you and Lottie.
Okay, well, pleasantries out of the way, I suppose, then. My companions and I here are desperately need to talk with 2 of your compatriots. There was an incident in Barrowcleft, and you have noticed there is now, rather than his normal speak, there is a little bit of eloquence to the way he's speaking. Unfortunately, that incident may have exposed them to something that is highly contagious, and I'm doing my due diligence here.
One of them looks doesn't even try to hide the fact that he doesn't understand a word of what you just said. The other one's, yes. Trying to work out what you want. It's We're
All right. So, two of your people came into contact with a very, very ill person. That person.
there's a light, just you see them kind of like, oh.
The person they came into contact had not finished his final round of medication and is still contagious, which means that the two individuals that he came into contact with could very likely have it as well now. And I am aware that they are part of the Crows. I would like to see them, speak with them, and give them an examination. Now he kind of gestures towards Omen. The professor here is the founder of the disease and is the foremost knowledge on it. I will be working under him. I am the practicing physician. And he kind of gestures at Lottie. I mean, I don't necessarily deal with your types on a daily basis, so, you know, hired muscle. But also, was the first patient that was completely cured by my treatments.
Who was it?
Oh, the original infected person. Now, normally that's not something I would talk about. Patient.
No, from ours. Who was it?
Okay. Let's see. That's the problem. Is I know who they came into contact with down in Barrowcleft. That's what makes this a little bit more difficult, was because I was going out I was going in as they came in as well. So we were kind of there at the same time. I don't want to say they roughed him up a little bit, but they definitely had physical contact with him. Averick was his name.
You see them comparing, conferring between the two of them. Only runs Barrowclap, 2 squad, anything bad. This whisper that goes back, these whispers that go backwards and forwards, and it's the moment of one of them who goes, the one at the back who checks the other one's cards. He's the one who, wait here, I'll go and see who I can find.
No problem.
Turns, and the other one just stares at you in this extended silence.
Well, it's not going to be that extended because Nathan is going to be somewhat peppering him with questions, more in the nature of, do you have a room that, in case I need to perform any particular procedures, do you have a room I can use? I would
Not in the tower.
Not in
You
the...
don't go in the tower. You're a crow? No, you don't go in the tower.
Do you want me to do it out here on the ground? I mean, that's hardly sanitary, and I kind of look over at Omen for confirmation.
I'm going even more aristocratic. I'm disgusted by everything that isn't perfectly. Perfect. Yeah. And then, yeah. He cannot do it here.
I mean...
Make me a check. You can do that as you could assist if you like. One of you can assist the other.
Ooh.
You take 1 stress, and whoever rolls gets +1 to their
Are
pool.
we rolling?
What are you rolling? Because I feel like you're probably the better one to roll here.
What would this be? Sway?
Lightly a sway, yes.
I have 1.
That's better than me.
Okay.
So Nathan, take 1 stress, and Omen, you get +1 to your roll. Obviously, you can push yourself as well for an additional die.
Which is 2 stress.
It's
Right.
2 strength, yeah.
Yes,
Which would
I
give you a
will
total
do
of
that.
3.
Yes. Risky, submit, effect standard. Bonus die 2. Submit. Now we roll a 1. 5. I would have had nothing.
Success with a complication. It's it's that first one. He steps forward. He goes, "You get your room. With this, you don't talk about Crowsfoot that way." And just swings a punch at Omen, and just straight across the nose. There is a. Would you like to resist, or would you like to take armor?
I'll take armor.
Okay. So that will leave you with some very, very nasty bruising as a level 1 harm, rather than a broken nose, at least. And he spits, and it's that. Welcome to Crowsfoot.
Lottie?
Yeah, Lottie's gonna come between them when he strike, and just whoa! Don't touch him. He's here to help.
I know.
Let's be clear. The alternative was for us to let you all die of something.
Just keep your mouth shut and stop talking.
No.
As
The hostility really should end here.
as a as the first one the door opens again, and the first figure walks out, pausing at the bottom of the steps as he sees Omen like kind of holding his nose, and the other one sort of like cracking his knuckles a little bit, and he's got opinions. He's got a mouth on him, and as the other one gets closer and comes to rejoin his compatriot, and it's Fisher and Chillbottle. They've got something going in off the record, but they've got something going over in Barracleft.
Well, he kind of looks over to the one that just popped, Omen. You said we have a room. If you would like to lead us to the room, I wouldn't dare go in without you leading the way.
He leads the way. The other one follows behind as the three of you make your way in. And once you're inside, on that first ground level, there is a very kind of open space with an old iron staircase that leads around the circumference of the room, leading up to the first level. And over at the back wall, there's 3 doors which seem to lead into smaller spots. He leads you to the right-hand door, opens it, and shows you what could only be described as the room of stuff. It's boxes, there's crates, just everything that's probably, whenever one of them thinks this could be useful, probably goes in here. There's one corner, there's an old bath chair with a missing wheel. There's what looks to be upright against one wall. One wall is a pool table with its legs removed. So much useless junk.
The all useless junk. Got it. Like I
say, this is the room where the stuff goes.
Nathan kind of scratches the back of his head and as he kind of looks around the room. But he doesn't say anything because he's not actually looking to get popped in the face.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, Nathan begins to set up. He pulls out what are essentially two sets of bandoliers full of vials. He sets out what is essentially a portable alembic, and he sets out several different syringes and the like. He's basically, laying out his stuff to where, you could see that it's all within arm's reach. He's ready to go, essentially. He's making it definitely look like, I'm a doctor, I need to get my stuff set up.
Absolutely. You wait for a bit while sort of leaning against several of the old packing crates that have been stacked up almost to the ceiling in here. While Nathan get yourself prepared, and a little bit later, the two of them that you recognize them from Barrowcleft make their way in. It's the guy that goes in first. The woman's state hangs back and waits by the door to see what's going on.
So I do kind of give a nod to both Lottie and Omen to let them know that these are the people that I saw, so we're not getting some rando people here that don't belong here. Also, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull out an item from Omen's list, the electroplasm vials.
Okay.
And set them on next to my other syringes and alchemical things that I've pulled out.
Absolutely. And yes, as you obviously mark that off, and as they step in, like I say, it's him that steps in first. And, yeah. So what's this then?
I kind of gesture for Omen to go ahead and fill him in as I continue to set up.
I will speak in the most medically sound terminology, in such a way that you have no idea of what I'm saying. Apart from the fact that we think you're sick, that's the only part I get. Everything else, no idea.
I'm gonna say on that yeah, again, that's gonna need a check.
Sway again? Or what else can I
You could do study. I think study would help me.
study? I need to study.
Yeah, study works.
I have 2 dice.
Since you're essentially just trying to bludgeon them with academics to an extent.
Oh.
Sorry, I missed, yeah, it's he just nods like he should at certain points where it's it's her that's a lot more cynical, and as she kind of folds her arms in the doorway, cocks her head and just looks at you, looks towards Nathan and furrows her brow a bit.
And Nathan, at this point, Nathan has mostly set up, so he does turn his attention to her, and he just goes, "Yes, I recall you too. You unfortunately got to him before I could administer the last dosage of his medication. That is problematic because this particular illness seems to be quite contagious until they take their last dosage. Obviously, this is just a precaution. I can't 100% say if you're infected or not until I do my tests here. And obviously, if the tests do immediately come, because the tests are pretty quick, I will find out very quickly whether or not you are, and then we can discuss where we go from there. If you have questions about what this illness does," and I kind of gesture my head over towards Lottie, she has recovered from this illness, so she can give you a first-hand knowledge.
And it's the guy who nods. What would you like to do here?
Who are you asking?
So it's like I say, it's at the moment it's the guy that seems to be the more accommodating of the two.
Yeah, stated. I was addressing the woman the entire time.
Yeah, she's just arms folded in the doorway, silent. She's going to take a lot more convincing.
All right. He kind of shrugs and he goes, "All right. You, sir, since you're..." And he kind of gestures at a chair, something that looks like a chair.
Yeah, there's a small crate.
And at this, probably one of the chemical ingredients he would have on him is some sort of disinfectant. So he goes about disinfecting his arm, takes one of his syringes, takes a bit of blood, puts it in his alembic. And while he's doing this, he is still keeping an eye on the woman at the door and is kind of giving Lottie the look of, I feel like she's going to be a problem.
And what are you doing with this test? How's it going to work?
It's going to involve a little bit of electroplasm to get things going. Basically using that to power and distill the blood into different functions. And then it's... The best way to describe it is, have you ever seen those mad scientists? That's almost what it looks like as I'm basically separating the blood parts and looking over them, making notes, However, Nathan realizes that to Nathan, this is just complete and utter, and probably even to Omen, it's just complete and utter theater.
Yeah.
Where
I am giving the most scientific and accurate and nonsense analysis, like I'm explaining to the two, or mostly to the one who doesn't believe what's going on, what we're trying. Still, probably they have no idea what I'm saying, because I actively looked for the most complicated terminology that even doctors don't use to make it even harder for them to even understand what's going on.
And occasionally when he does, Nathan looks up like you can tell on his face, he's like, I know what that means, but what? That look, like, I know what you're saying, but what?
It's it's the same look on the guy's face. So as you do the test for him, what's it gonna do?
I think I'm gonna make this one be turn out positive, because he was the one handling, so it would definitely make more. It wouldn't necessarily be that out of place that he's definitely one of the one infected because he was in contact.
Okay, so you yes, okay, cool. So as you do, and how does the test manifest a positive result?
It doesn't like create a little printout and I read it. No, we're not talking that level. We're talking about this probably takes at least an hour for me to have distilled out all of this stuff, pulled out. Here we go. What would a magnifying glass type thing be under? Tinkering tools?
Good question. Tinkering tools, probably, yeah.
Okay, I'll take tinkering tools then. And I pull out a magnifying glass, microscope. There we go. The words, Ian. And as I examine it, I kind of step back and give a nod. All right. This is what I was afraid of. We do have one positive result here. So, I'm gonna put this as plainly as I can. You can take my treatment, which I'm going to be 100% honest with you, is still in the experimental stages. I only know of, well, counting you, roughly 10 cases in Duskvol at this time. Gestures over at Lottie again. So what we're looking at is usually takes a week to set in, and once it really sets in, it becomes progressively more difficult. Looking at fever, headaches, muscle spasms, later cases, paralysis, mental confusion, excessive salivation.
I'm nodding all the way.
And then at the end of the day, coma, brain death, difficulty swallowing, hydrophobia. And then he pauses. Fear of water, sorry.
It's and it's at this point it's the guy who's like, well, yeah, all right. Give me the medication then. I'll take it. I'll take it probably a lot worse for fun.
At that point, Nathan kind of sighs and he goes, now, here's the rub.
And it's the woman who kind of like unfolds her arms at this point and goes, surprise.
I mean, it's not much of a surprise. Kind of looks at her like, you'd be daft to think that, and he even says it, what, do you expect free? Like, the look on Nathan's face is very incredulous, like, and then he actually turns and approaches her. I want to say it is aggressive, but it's not like physically aggressive. And he goes,
right.
So, you expect... Do you know how many coin I just used there? Do you know how much electoplasm runs these days? Do you know how much that equipment runs? How much I have to sterilize that equipment? Does any of this start making sense in your mind here? And he does definitely pause there because he wanted to insult her there, but he thought better of it at the very last moment, so he stifled it. I mean, I if I could do all of this for free, I most certainly would. But hell, why do you think he's late on his payments? It's because he's been paying me.
Well, the difference between him and us is he isn't a crow.
I'm sorry, but money flows in all directions. And I would highly recommend that you take a seat on the crate.
Oh, make me a check.
Let me finish first.
Oh, sorry.
I highly recommend you take a seat on the crate because I tested him first. One, because, well, obviously he was compliant. But two, he had physical contact. You did. Now, I don't know if you've had physical contact with him, and he gestures at, Fisher was the guy's name?
Fisher is the guy, yeah.
Fisher here. I don't know if you've had physical contact with him. I don't know if he's had physical contact with anybody else in this building. You can see how this all of a sudden becomes a large circle that I'm going to have to spend countless coin on testing. This is not a small issue, lady. So I recommend you sit your butt down on a crate, get this test. Hopefully it comes out negative, and if it comes out negative, I won't even charge you for it. We'll talk about the test being free. Fine. Whatever. That still hurts me at the end. But the medication I'm gonna provide, I mean, at the end of the day, I have to be able to buy more ingredients. Or if you want to all of a sudden start providing the crows to provide me said ingredients and start supplying me with supplies, that's another way we can work this out.
Awesome. Like I say, make me a check.
Okay. So.
Analysis.
Okay.
And I will say that on the back of slightly compromised, I will say this is also a desperate action.
Oh yeah. No. That's fine because Nathan is losing it a little bit here. He feels very insulted. So I've got Omen helping. Lottie, are you able to help in any way?
I mean, that would be a group action, but yeah. So I think only one person can assist.
Okay,
so.
if only one person can assist. Pushing myself, that's 2. So if I push myself, I could take 2 stress.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else that can give me another die. Would my setup, my theater, etc. count as a setup for myself there?
I would say no, because that was probably more for the guy who was very compliant in the end.
Fair enough.
You're going up against Lady Cynicism right here.
All right. So it doesn't matter. Swain studies the same role for me. Okay. Well, this is a desperate action.
I would say you're probably looking at command as well with the way that you were.
True. Yeah, like all of these are the same role for me. So I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Everything but Tinker, Wreck, and Attune are 0.
Oh.
So.
Lottie, I think you're up.
Yeah, she may need her head bashed in. Unless I get, like, amazingly... So, 2 die? Yes! Oh, I'll take the 6. I will
She moves in incredibly close and just, like, knows, like, an inch away from your own and just eyeballs you. Doesn't sit down, but, like, moves further into the room and props herself up against several of the crates. Do your test then.
Omen and Lottie can see Nathan visibly exhale. You're not sure if it was to steady his nerves or to... Whether it was because he was nervous that she was going to haul off and pop him, or if he's just that seething angry that he was questioned like that. You're not sure what he's calming himself down for. And
This time I was pretending to take notes on them. I'm going to actually start taking note of this, of the doctor who could actually go berserk at any point.
So, once again, it is the same ordeal. However, for her, I am going to state, just because she is so skeptical to begin with, I feel like I would be called out on saying that they were both sick. What do the two of you think here?
Yeah, okay.
Probably say that.
Yeah. We might not need to say that she's also sick. Yeah, it's enough.
All right. So with that, the only thing that is different is when I adjust the heat on the alembic. I adjust it slightly lower. Just enough to where the liquid turns a slightly different color. After I do my little examination, I give her a nod and I'm like, so, that's nothing out of your pocket then. Or nothing out of the crow's pocket for you then, I should say. You're okay. Thankfully. I'm guessing he's probably early enough that he's not as contagious as you are in the later stages. So even if you've had physical contact with him, you're good. I still would like to test anybody else he's been in physical contact with just to be sure. But I think you should be so thankful.
Sure. And she pushes past you, like kind of shouldering you on the way out, opens up the door again, and lets herself out.
So, I need two things from you as I turn back to Fisher.
Okay.
I need a list of people you've been in contact with physically. Obviously, outside of myself, I'm obviously going to have to run the test on myself here. Or he probably motions towards Orman, or I'll have him do it. Since I've been in physical contact with you. And also, we do need to discuss payment. As stated, the ingredients are not cheap. And as I had mentioned to you, it is experimental.
All right. Well, how much we talking?
For just you? He pauses as he continues to think, and then he goes, well, I know obviously you're probably more concerned about payment. But I do need to know how many other people you came into contact with.
I don't know. See if anyone gets sick, I guess.
At that point, he kind of looks at Lottie and he goes, I don't recommend that. There's a reason for that, though. Lottie, dear. You remember, by the time I got you the last dosage, right?
Clearly.
Would you like to explain what the final stages of this is like?
Well, to put it simply, it was hell. Talking about fevers, extreme fatigue, couldn't get out of bed, hallucinations. Yeah, the fear of water is no joke either. I couldn't bathe and I just got even more sick because of that. Could barely drink. It was this. I was thirsty all the time, and the headaches. My God, the headaches. Puke a lot also, but after a while, because I couldn't eat or drink, I just stopped. But it was a small consolation, if you say.
And I kind of give a small smirk, and I'm like, there is one other symptom. It's in the very final stages. You remember I had mentioned mental confusion, correct?
Yeah.
So, having heard what that is, or what it's like, and he gestures at Lottie. Now we add in the mental confusion. All of a sudden, you're in, obviously, a great deal of pain. And you're confused. Right. You're scared. What does that usually lead to? I'm gonna kind of see if he can follow the leading question there. What do you do when you're confused and scared and there's people all around you and they're poking and prodding at you? Things.
I wouldn't. It sort of goes back into tough guy. I wouldn't let him. Try it.
Exactly. And then they poke and prod and quote unquote they try it. And then let's not even be frank, or let's be frank here. It turns violent. Could you imagine if 4 or 5 of you, let's just say this is a minor outbreak, because this thing is highly contagious, especially later on. 4 to 5 of the crows catch this. And then all of a sudden, 4 to 5 of the crows are beating the living hell out of maybe each other, which maybe is that big of a deal in this situation, or beating the hell out of other people that aren't infected, and then they get infected. You see how this expands so rapidly with physical contact.
I beat 3 people, and he got to give them medicine too.
I gesture at Omen. This isn't the first time he's been punched in the nose. She did it.
And nodding, and it's like, you can see in my face the memories, the Vietnam. I'm not used to be punched, this is a aristocratic face.
Oh, I'm gonna say on that one, I can say do it as a group action. Make me a check.
Okay.
Who's leading?
Yeah, who's leading? And what ability are we using here? I could see study.
Study or sway, I'd say that.
Since we're still talking like really heavy medicine type related stuff here.
I'd rather have study, but I'll go with whatever.
I mean, it's all the same roll for me. Lottie,
Okay.
Do you have some study?
Study or sway?
Yeah.
I think
Who's
study.
leading? And who's leading?
Why not? I'll lead, even though I have 0 in study.
Go for it. You can still lead it. Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
I'll lead it.
We'll roll study.
Yep, so everyone roll study, take the highest result, and you take 1 stress for every failed roll. So that's
1 failed roll for me.
1 stress so far.
Only for the leader, correct? Or
There's
for everyone, for stress.
it's just for me.
Yeah, no, it's only for whoever's leading. So it's what's the highest there? That's
6.
a 6. Nice. It's he's. Oh right, yeah. I'll get a list and begins to reel off names as he does.
And
And then
as these names get doled out, essentially we're going to be passing it to the people that the gate guards, because obviously we understand we're not supposed to leave this room, so we're just going to be passing these names off to have them start calling these people in.
I'd say Lottie goes and speak because she's the clearly tough one, so she might be able to have an easier conversation.
True.
And then the last name, as he's there, and Lissa.
That name's supposed to ring a bell to us, right? Or
Well, obviously it doesn't to you, but to Lottie and possibly Omen, certainly means something.
Okay, we'll need to bring...
She runs the gang.
Oh.
So, once again...
How many people did he say in total?
Probably 7 or 8. Obviously, Chill Bottle included, who's now left and doing whatever she does.
I'm thinking we're going to charge 2 coin for each of these people, and for the ingredients, because that doesn't seem exuberant. And we will state that it's the whole round of treatments, it's not just one. Obviously, we're giving them a discount because they're crows. Let them know that. So basically, I'm gonna make at least 4 of those people turn up positive. So we're dealing with roughly, 8 coin? Obviously, 5 of that is gonna go to the other, allowing us to split the other 3. That's my mental thought.
My fear is that we will actually have to interact with the boss, which might be harder than the others.
Not really.
Also, she knows what Lottie looks like. She's certainly met Lottie.
Technically, I could be a job.
Yeah, that doesn't. We stated at the beginning we paid her to be our guard.
Yeah, I'm a bounty hunter. I'm
So-
a bounty hunter.
Would she have reason to try and kill you? Or does she? Or the fact that
She would be suspicious because she knows that I work with people who scam her, but it's not my first job, and so I don't say she would be that much suspicious if we said it well.
And obviously, probably for her, I'm gonna make sure this turns up negative. This test is gonna come up negative.
Okay. So as you begin to make your way through those, as various crows come and go, running the tests, some of them negative, some of them positive. Are you actually going to give them any medication, or is that going to be a...
I do plan on giving them some actual medication, but it's essential. You know those mushrooms you pulled from the tea? It is safe to be injected, and it'll maybe make them feel a little euphoric, but outside of that, it does nothing. I'm giving them a mild drug, essentially. I'm drugging them. Very mildly.
I'd say we don't make it now. Just the day after we come back, give them.
Yeah.
Because clearly we need much more complicated
Yeah, of course.
things to produce it.
We could give them something that would make them sick at the beginning. Just
And then better at the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
I like Lottie's idea there. Yeah. So okay, the mushroom thing is not gonna be entirely safe. It's gonna mimic some of the symptoms, mostly the fever, the fatigue, and maybe the dizziness.
The way we explain it to them is that I explain it, they understand nothing, then the doctor actually goes, okay, yeah. Simplified version. First get sick, you will get worse, and then you will get better.
Just because it takes multiple doses, so obviously the disease is still progressing while these doses are being administered. And I will let them know that I don't need to be present for their taking of them. Once I supply them with everything, you know. They're not necessarily as much of a test case as the ones before them were.
Right. And as you do so, you make your way giving the similar spiel to each of them as those that you choose to show up positive. Going through this process and this theatrical display. And fortunately this time Lissa isn't around. But it's a couple of days later where Lottie, you find yourself leaving the hideout, locking the door behind you. And as you turn in the streets, you come face to face with a woman in her early to mid 30s. And absolutely this big collar made almost entirely of black crow feathers. Infection in the crows.
Really? Oh yes, that thing. Are they better? If they have gotten worse, I can fetch the doctor immediately. I know where to find him.
Drop the act. There was a couple in there that, well, let's be honest. The old adage of a fool and his money are soon parted. There were those in there that fell for the ruse. And a couple in there that I'm glad did as well. But you went into my home and played my crew for everything it was worth. Now, we can have a problem. Or you can do me a little favor and I forget this ever happened. And we go back to the way things were. Which is it going to be?
I mean, depends on the favor, but I would be very glad to not have any problem with any of you. It was just some, I was just paid to be there and looking tough.
Put it this way. This one isn't so much looking tough. Of those two that you first targeted, there are others that I have a certain issue with. Loyal to my former boss, let's just say. Now, if something were to happen to them and they were to fall victim to something, well, things would get a lot easier for me, and of course, by proximity, they'd get much easier for you as well. I assure you of that.
Doesn't sound like a bad arrangement at all. If you give me something to identify them, I could take care of it pretty easily.
it's she gives you a couple of names and brief descriptions of two captains in the Crows, and it's. I think it's best if give it some time. Don't do it straight away. A lot of them are a little bit worked up at the moment. Give them some time to get over it, and then probably best that we don't speak in public for a while.
Sure. Do you want it to be permanent, humiliating, or just very discreet?
Well, your former associate was less than, let's just say, less than optimal when it came to actually dealing with bodies. He just left a trail of them leading right back to you. I would say get creative.
With that? Well, it will be a pleasure to have business with you.
You insist? Till next time.
Till next time.
She turns on her heel and begins to make her way back down the street. As she's rejoined, as you still see her second, Bell, big guy with the tattoo of a crow on his chest, which, with the inclusion of demon blood, now kind of hops around along the line of his top pectoral. And the two of them make their way off into the darkness.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Blades in the Dark, What Happens in the Dusk, part of the Domain Gaming, written and told by Wyverian and Livespark. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, remember the first rule of a con. Offer them everything for nothing, and give them nothing for everything.